Hello. Hi. So happy when I see you guys' names. Welcome to week 2, the second happy Wednesday, the second chakra in this exploration, the Sacral Chakra. I'm gonna get started relatively soon. Thank you for being so devoted and committed to your curious practice and to showing up and giving me an opportunity to share what I've found to be useful insight into these energies. It just means a lot to me. And so if you have your notebooks, if you guys take notes, you'll go ahead and get that ready. Take your time, make sure you have some water nearby. Actually, please go get some water if you don't have water nearby, because we will learn that water is the element of the sacral chakra, and I would love to do a water meditation and incantation. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go get my water, so just give me 1 second. All right. So I got my water, and very quickly, just going to finalize something here. How are you guys feeling today? If you want to take a second real quick, just let's chat. Let me know, how was your Wednesday? How has your week been? How has it been since the last time we met last week, if you were here last week? I love that the both of you responded to my question. Thank you for taking the time to check in with yourself and express that to me, to us here in this space. Fix this frizz, it's driving me nuts. Okay. And I love the dynamic expression of both of your human experiences today. Marina, you're feeling rested, while... Can you actually remind me your name? I'm gonna tag you. I think it's Emily, right? Am I wrong? Elizabeth. Close, but not really. Elizabeth, thank you, my love. Okay, so Marina, you're feeling rested, and then Elizabeth, you're feeling an hectic energy and coming around. And I kind of want to even not to dissect what you said, Elizabeth, not to put you on the spot. I resonate with your statement, as simple as it seems, how when we maybe aren't feeling the most calm, the most centered, the most whatever we're hoping that we can feel, we tend to, I'm gonna sneeze, we tend to want to justify. And it's very interesting that we're touching base on this, because, hi Kayla, because the sacral chakra has to do with that rooted, seated both in SEEDED and seated, like in a seat, sensation of being in your feelings. And something that I would love to practice in my life, and that I encourage you guys to do as well, is to embrace the suck. Like, if you're not feeling well, try and notice your desire or your pattern to want to say, like not to divulge too much, not to say, like, I kind of feel like shit, or like I'm feeling hectic, or I feel like chaotic energy around me, I'm feeling tired, but I'm getting, like, it's okay to be in the now if the now is like a mucky feeling or a chaotic place, because this is where the work lives. It's the same as walking into, on a laundry day, it's like, yes, I have laundry to do, but I'm folding it. It's just, be okay with like having to be with the sensation of like the work needs to be done. That's the exciting part. So I'm like very grateful for you guys sharing that with me. So the sacral chakra, it is going to be the chakra right above the root. So last week we talked about the root chakra, which is based from the root of the spine towards your groin, and kind of navigates the hip, low back, leg, feet region, essentially your roots. And so the sacral chakra, or the Svadhisthana chakra, is located about 2 or 3 inches below your navel, so below your belly button, and it rests right above the root. And what I love about this is that there is an energetic quality about viewing the sacral chakra as your seed. So if the root chakra are your roots, the sacral is your seed. It is the womb energy. It is the cultivation of creation. And in the Sanskrit word Svadhisthana, meaning one's own dwelling, one's own seat, or where your being is established. So when you are seated, this is your chair, this is your seat, this is your body, this is your space. And the sacral chakra calls our awareness and calls our energetic qualities to bring balance and awareness to the ways that we exist, and the ways that we are, and the ways that we present ourselves to the world and to ourselves. So it's closely connected to the root system, said to be the seed of being. Again, with that womb energy, womb and seed, it really, all of the symbolism and all of the expressive terms for this chakra really invigorate the importance of creativity. And with creativity in the human experience, we have sexuality, we have sensuality, we have sense of being, sense of awareness. And when we notice the energetic quality of this chakra, we can pay attention to the ways that what it represents, how it can lash out and create imbalance, harmony, and disharmony in our lives. The element of the sacral chakra is water, and it represents the fluidity of your life. It represents your adaptability, your flexibility, your playfulness, curiosity, your drive, your inspiration. I'm going to repeat that because I feel like sometimes people do write things down, and I tend to I feel like I'm a fast talker. So again, the element of water. And when you notice, everything just kind of ties in when I do this research and when I have these recollections and my own thought processes about it. So sacral chakra, Svadhisthana, one's own seat, a place of being, the seed of your energetic presence, the core of your sense of being. It's connected to emotions, sexuality, identity, desire, joy, emotions. I said emotion strikes because I'm thinking about water. And water, when you think of water, you think of emotion. Water is it's ruled by the moon. The moon is emotion. It controls and navigates our ability to feel pleasure, to experience joy, to know what we like, what we don't like, what feels good and what doesn't feel good. And with water representing fluidity within us, the other qualities and other factors that go into fluidity are adaptability. How do you adjust to your environment? How do you adjust on a daily or momentary timeline to your circumstances, to your emotions, to the people around you, to your thoughts and your emotions. Hi, Savan. And so when you think about your curiosity, your drive, your inspiration, your flexibility, your playfulness, and you think about how those encompass your emotions, how your emotions can play off of those qualities, you can understand emotional balance. You can see qualities of emotional instability, emotional dependency, emotional withdrawal and repression. And when you don't feel aligned with your emotions, you don't feel aligned with your ability to adapt to your environment and ability to be flexible. You kind of tend to hold on to the things that you know, the things that you think you know. Oh, it has to be this way. If it's not this way, then something's wrong. And bringing balance to that can show signs of emotional intelligence and emotional awareness. So with the mental body, the way that the chakra affects your mental body is it allows you to have a flexible mindset, allowing yourself to release your hold on your expectations, or understanding the balance too of like, because if you completely surrender your ideals, your morals, your values, your beliefs, that's even more chaotic. That spurts even more chaotic energy. It's not so much about one way or the other, but of understanding the ways that the energies are balanced. How you can both be an advocate for yourself and for your needs, and be willing to exemplify compromise, your ability to negotiate, your ability to be flexible with the way things turn out, even if they don't turn out in your favor or the way that you had envisioned it. You can welcome new ideas when this chakra is in balance. You are open to hearing the thoughts and perspectives of others without feeling like it's taking away from your own perspective. Because again, you're rooted in your seat. You are seated in your beliefs, so that welcoming new ideas doesn't necessarily take away from who you have decided to become, the person that you're choosing to be, and the ways that you choose to move through this world as who you are. You can welcome the insight and wisdom of everything around you, not just from other people, your peers, but from maybe scholars or other authors or artists, and maybe even from nature. You can seek so much inspiration from nature and from, just situational awareness and being aware of other people's circumstances. And there's just so much. We are literally just like spiritual sponges, just soaking in all of our surroundings. And it can be very challenging to separate self from circumstance, from situation. So there's that. And connecting back to the emotional body, when the chakra is balanced, you feel safe and free in expressing yourself creatively. Expression is also a part of the throat, so you can kind of see this link. There have also been other theories about the link between your reproductive organs and your throat, and how the tissue is similar, and how we can hold trauma and stress in the same places, and how they correlate. So this idea of expression being both sacral and throat can kind of expand on how emotion, not just words and like being able to say and speak, it's about also being able to be and being able to do. And doing is the solar plexus, which is the one right next to the sacral. So it's kind of really cool how it's all connected. Yes, especially for womb men. I'm going to emphasize womb because I feel like the womb space is such a potent, powerful cluster of creativity. It is literally, I'm going to sneeze. Anyway, so this womb space is very delicately connected to that throat space, which is also another form of creation. So it's really interesting how, all of these pieces and all of these components can end up at some way, in one way, shape, or another, being connected to each other. So in the emotional body, you allow yourself to feel safe and free and create in expressing yourself creatively in the way that you are, by being joyful, by being bubbly, by being mysterious, the way that you are and the way that you identify yourself in. Blessings. Is the way that you express yourself. It isn't the way that it isn't the way you think you act. It's the way that you are. And when you allow yourself to express yourself creatively, you kind of feel into like that comfort of being yourself, because alignment feels fucking good. Even when you go to like a chiropractor and you get your physical spine aligned, it's like, oh, that feels so great. When your mind, body, soul, spirit are in alignment, or when you're in alignment with your identity, you feel more empowerment. And so the ways that we can move towards that empowerment is through self-awareness, which I talked about earlier. And bringing in self-awareness is like, sometimes it's quiet, like, right? Like sometimes it's like an observant attitude, or an observant way of just noticing the ways that you are, like what feels good. Like, oh, if I went out with my friends and I behaved this way and I felt a little weird because that wasn't really who I was, or the way that I want to portray myself, or the way that I identify with myself, you feel like, oh, that's not me, and you feel that friction. Versus when you go out with your friends a second time and you make certain jokes, or you feel more like, oh, this is definitely like, oh, I'm this person, like I feel like I align with the way that I'm behaving now. You feel more confident and empowered and comfortable to be that version of yourself, because it's who you truly are. And when you do this, you allow yourself to feel pleasure in a healthy, guiltless way, because when you are aligned with yourself, that's it. That's the sensation of completion, of feeling whole, is when I am what I think and say I am. You listen and care for the needs of your physical body, which is, I tend to make these connections to festivals most of the time, because I'm also, working on my Get Rave Ready and thinking about the ways that like these energetic qualities show up for us in our physical life and daily lives and in our social lives. I feel like festivals have an ability to over-activate your sacral chakra. Some environments that can overstimulate your sacral chakra. Situations where you are kind of pinpointed to make rash decisions for yourself and for your well-being, where maybe the ego takes over and you choose things that aren't necessarily in harmony with your greater good. Like an example, oh, hey, don't go to sleep just yet. Let's go catch this 3-hour sunrise set, even though you have to be up at 8 o'clock in the morning the next day to go do. It's when we're in that position of like, we have to do what's best for us. If we don't know what that is, more than likely we won't make the decisions that feel the best for us. We might be more inclined to choosing things that feel good in the moment. We might be able to say, instant gratification, joy now. That can feel good for that time. However, one of my favorite quotes is, you are free to choose, but you are not free from the consequences of your choices. And there are consequences in either direction of things that we choose. In that same scenario that I just mentioned, you choose to stay awake. The consequence is you're exhausted the next day, and maybe you don't have the energy to go through with the activities you were planning and hoping to do that day. The consequence of staying in and sleeping is you miss out on the experience of being with your friends in that environment, but you wake up more rested and able to do the things that you wanted to do that day. So these choices, they kind of tend to like stagger. And I feel like the more we can try to overlap harmony in each choice that we make, the more we can become aware of what really feels good for like good, capital G good for us. Not like, oh, this will feel good now, and like fuck everything else. And trust me, I'm definitely a person who's like, oh, that's a tomorrow problem. That's a later me issue. And lo and behold, I am correct every single time. Later me always has to deal with what past me, nonchalant me, chose to overlook. And And ultimately, it's going to have to get done. What needs to get done needs to get done, no matter how much you overlook it, no matter how much you wish you don't have to do it, or, the work needs to be done. Another good quote is to not be disappointed in the results you don't get from the work you don't do. That really resonates with me. I like that one a lot. Moving into the physical body, the sacral chakra kind of houses and governs your lower abdomen, your hips, your lower back, your reproductive organs, and the womb space. Back pain and low hip mobility can indicate held emotions and stress. I don't know if any of you here stretch regularly, or if you've ever done a hip opener, or like some sort of deep yogi squat, or a pigeon pose, or like a seated twist, something that has to do with your hip, the femur moving around in your hip. I did a stretch when I was still living in Chicago. My hip went bop, bop, like it was like loud. And I had to get up for a second. I was like, I have to call somebody. And I got on the phone with Brent and I just started crying. And all the held emotion that I had held in that hip about my disconnect with my physical body, I felt, and this is a connection to sacral, hip, sacral, this experience. I felt guilt and shame for not having committed more of my time and energy to my physical yoga practice, and not having chosen, like I did not choose to practice yoga. And the consequence of that choice is I lost that body, mind, soul connection and alignment. And I felt that when I cracked my hip or I popped my hip. Yes, thank you. No, thank you for doing that, Kayla. I'm really grateful. I'm also gonna talk about some yoga poses for this posture too, but just if you guys feel like stretching, hi Amanda. If you guys feel like stretching, like please, move your bodies, like put me in a headphone, walk around with me. Like this doesn't have to be or look any specific way, as long as it just feels good for you. Yeah. So that womb energy, I just want to like circle back to that because it's that pure creative energy, and that sacral chakra has everything to do with sense of being, doing, creating. And when it's blocked, what we tend to feel the most in our sacral chakra is guilt, emotional overwhelm, emotional repression, where we subdue our emotions. I currently, right now in real life time, am experiencing some sort of imbalance and disharmony within my sacral chakra. Because check it out, when blocked, you feel guilt, wounded emotions. Your feelings are hurt more often than what you may be used to. You feel more sensitive. You feel more irritable. Your imposter syndrome starts to kick up. You feel like someone's about to catch you doing something wrong, being the wrong way. You fear judgment. You subdue yourself and your emotions and your self-expression. You feel muted, insecure, and unable to express yourself authentically, and you experience uncertainty. And all of this has to do with emotional unawareness, mindlessness, and disconnect. And so in my personal experience right now, my sacral chakra needs a little loving care. I thought that it was throat. As I had mentioned in my personal Chubby Wubby account story yesterday, that I'm like, am I just swallowing my words until I choke on them, or am I expressing like the practice of silence and solitude and the wordless space? Turns out that connection to my sacral, my emotions are out of whack. I have been feeling more irritable. I have been feeling more judgmental towards my loved ones and my friends. I've been feeling more rigid in my belief systems, in what I feel I deserve, and it has to be this way. And I have been very disconnected from my flexibility, from my fluidity. And a part of that comes from a piece of my soul, or my ego, stepping in to protect my soul, which got wounded, where my relationships haven't been feeling reciprocal. And I feel a lot of hurt in some of my close, intimate friendships, which I'm going to address hopefully sometime soon after I've been, mulling things over. I kind of lost my train of thought. Hearing your person say chakra really helps deepen the understanding. Thank you. Yeah, I feel like that too. Like I'm so glad that you relate and that you're bringing attention to that, because we don't, that's the thing. Like, we don't know that everything can be connected to these energy wheels. It's not that it's like the sacred like way and it has to be this way, but it is pleasant to make these connections and to understand that, oh, I'm feeling really irritable and insecure and I don't know who I am and my sense of self, like all of these things, if you check them down the list, you're like, oh shit, my emotional center, my energetic being of seed womb creativity is wounded and fragile and it's underactive. Hi, Corinne. But what I love about the study and practice of chakra and energy work is that it isn't just one direction. Like there isn't just like a blocked chakra, right? I think I touched this a little bit last week. There is an overactive aspect to it too. So notice like the spectrum, right? You have balance, you have emotional awareness, you have sense of ability, you have credibility, you have critical thought, you have creativity, you have experiencing and expressing joy and pleasure in a healthy way. When blocked, you have guilt, wounded emotions, sensitive, imposter syndrome, suppression, subduing your sense of self. But when it's overactive, the sacral chakra, you can feel hypersexual, lack of self-awareness, feelings of guilt and shame, feeling overwhelmed, irrational decision-making, and chaotic relationships and addictive tendencies. So the two most powerful ones for me in this study of overactive are just three things. It's the hypersexuality, it's the irrational decision making, the chaotic relationships, and addictive tendencies. I don't know if you guys were aware of this or if you knew this about me, and I will be talking about this in more in depth. I have an addictive personality. Maybe not like so much an umbrella term, I have an addictive personality, but I have experienced chaotic relationships, specifically with substances and with people. When I was in my early 20s, first stepping into like late teens, early 20s, stepping into the rave scene, I did drugs for the first time, like hard drugs, quote unquote, meaning like beyond alcohol, nicotine, and THC. And I experienced my first ecstasy high on MDMA. And for the better part of about a year, I was addicted to Molly. And it had gotten to a point that my chaotic relationship with this substance was destroying so much around me, but I was in the eye of the storm and I could not see the catastrophe of this chaotic relationship, because what I was feeling was right now instant gratification, joy, pleasure. Literally, that was the most sacral experience for me, because ecstasy is such a pleasure driven drug. And when we think about that hyperactiveness of being bombarded with ecstasy and pleasure, synthetic imposed pleasure and ecstasy, my energetic body was probably like, bitch, the fuck. And thus began the chaotic relationship with me and drugs and uppers, essentially. Grew up. I have to plug my phone in 1 second. As someone who my goodness. Chill. As someone who grew up with depression and other examples of mental health, this drug created such an imbalance in my body and in my mind and my emotional, my physical, and my mental bodies, that all I knew was chaos. And so that imbalance left me being hypersexual. I had zero sense of self-awareness because I was not able to be aware of the damage I was doing to my relationships, to myself, and to my environment. It wasn't until I had roped someone I loved deeply into my shit, which is Brent. And I remember looking at him one night after like a bender and looking at his face, and I just saw malnutrition. I saw lack of sleep. I saw a reflection of what I was doing to myself, and now I roped my partner into it. And that was the night I said, fuck this. And I threw a tantrum the next day, which led to me being kicked out, like, again, emotional instability, like this end of the spectrum, like the overwhelmed, the hyper end of the spectrum. Ended up being homeless for several, whatever, root chakra instability. Are we seeing the patterns? And it wasn't until I was able to physically remove myself from the chaos and luckily be able to have the support system that I had to give myself safety. It wasn't until I was able to solidify my root chakra that I was able to bring awareness to my sacral. So that's just like, it's crazy. It's crazy. But it's not actually crazy. It's like cool and interesting. So there's the out of balance in either direction when it's blocked or when it's overactive. And again, in balance, we have confidence in our abilities. We're able to create in a way where we are confident in art. Like, you know, when you're an artist or a writer or creator of any sort, you create something, you're like, oh, I don't know, like, oh, don't look at it, versus like, yeah, I did that. Like, I did that. That's my work. I did that because I am creative. And we have certainty in our needs and values when we know that we need, let's say, reassurance. If I need reassurance and I move in my life to avoid reassurance, then I'm just going today. Yeah, today was a lot. Maybe. For some, for me, it definitely felt like I got a lot more done today than, you know, not more than anything. I just got a lot done today. I forgot it. Oh, whatever. Let's move on and maybe it'll come back. I'm going to look up here because I know that we had questions last time about what kind of crystals. Something that I also wanted to tell you guys was about the frequencies. If you're really interested in bringing energetic healing, we had touched base last week and we'll talk about it now. So we can bring harmony into our lives, into our physical, mental, emotional, and energetic lives through our senses. We did a 5 sense check-in last week. This is great for the root and sacral. So we can, keep note of that exercise is a viable tool to bring harmony into both the root and the sacral chakras. Bitch. And so through the senses, stay balanced, right? That's like the whole point. You know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna let my phone not. I love this. It's so cute. Okay. Anyway, so the senses can bring harmony to our energetic bodies. We did the 5 sense check-in where you do like 3 things you taste, 3 things you see, 3 things you smell, hear, and touch. Now, the ways that we can more harness and focus the power of our senses is to intentionally absorb and consume things with our senses that are in sync with our chakras. So the general exercise of the 5 sense check-in is just to see where you're at. I am here. The way that we harness the senses is by eating, tasting things that align with the energy we're trying to heal and bring attention to, smelling things that bring specific attention and awareness to the energy we're trying to heal, seeing things, hearing things, and touching things. So with sound, I feel like sound and smell are the 2 most powerful, or for me, in my opinion, they're the easiest, or not the easiest, but I like smell and sound. Okay, so aromatherapy with essential oils, and sound healing with frequencies. So for the root chakra, frequency 396 If you guys just look up on Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, whatever, just listen to 396 hertz. And it is to let go of fear, regret, and negative emotions. And it says that we can talk about like quantum theory and shit and like fucking all that shit. But like literally, if you believe in vibration and frequency, and you believe that everything in the universe is constantly in motion, even the negative space, there is always this atoms, molecules moving and dancing and swirling around each other, and this cosmic dance of everything all the time forever vibrates at a frequency. Henceforth we vibrate at a frequency, and if we vibrate at a frequency, everything in our body vibrates at different frequencies. My hair has a different frequency than my shirt, has a different frequency than my womb, has a different frequency than my heart. So the root and sacral chakras can vibrate and be attuned to the frequency of 396, which is a solfeggio frequency, alleged to be frequencies that are of the highest vibrations, that bring our bodies to the highest vibrations. I will comment that below so you guys can write it down. Solfeggio frequencies. So yeah, so if you just go on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, blah blah blah, 396 hertz for the sacral and the root. And then for crystals that help with bringing balance, again, it's anything. I love color therapy, so anything orange, anything red. You can even do the red jasper again. You can do a red carnelian. You can do a coral. You can do a calcite, orange calcite, tiger's eye even, which is a great one to bring into balance also with the solar plexus. So if those two, you feel like in your energetic body, those two can, you know, be interchanged or doing like a funky little energy dance, tiger's eye is great for that as well. And then as far as yoga poses for the sacral chakra, it's going to be your activation of your lower abdomen. So anything that you physically need to like draw the belly button into the spine. So that mula bandha that we talked about last week, where you kind of pinch it's a Kegel, where you squeeze your pelvic floor and you engage your pelvic floor. Warrior 2, warrior 1, high lunge, low lunge, bridge pose. Ooh, bridge pose is when if you want to do this, if you're in a space where you can do this posture, I will talk you through it. And then of course I will be saving and resharing this to my page so you can listen to it again. Lay flat on your back. Inhale, raise the arms overhead until the backs of your hands touch the floor, and stretch out the feet. Like wiggle your toes and wiggle your fingertips. And then come to relax. Bring the arms to a goalpost posture on the floor. So your back is on the floor, you're laying on your back, the arms at a goalpost. Notice the shoulder blades, how they move once you're in this position. They want to be squeezing together, moving down the spine. Bend the knees, feet flat on the floor. And then bring the heels a little bit closer to your glutes, but not too close that the heels lift from the floor. You still want the feet flat on the floor. With the back pressing into the ground, feet press into the ground, lift the hips. And you're going to create this, like you're like this. This doesn't work. But like I don't have a lot of space in this room, but it's a bridge pose. You can also just look up bridge, not wheel, unless you're out here wanting to do a full wheel pose. If you have the flexibility, just make sure that you are protecting yourself and warming up before you do extreme stretches like that. But bridge pose is a great one. Cobra pose, where you are then on your belly and you tuck the pelvis under, meaning that if your pelvis is a bowl, you want to tilt it back so that your pelvic bone is more pointing towards your toes, or like trying to aim down towards the ground if you're on the floor. And like squeeze the glutes. Like, yeah, that's another good little cue to try to like turn the pelvic bowl. And then you're going to bring your hands to underneath your shoulders, right by your armpits, and just gently keeping the elbows tucked into the ribs. You're going to press up using the strength of your hands, but also using the strength of your shoulders, squeezing behind you like you're opening the heart up. and it's like an upward facing dog or a cobra pose. You can also keep the forearms flat on the ground, kind of like a sphinx, and you're just poised on the elbows and the forearms, and the fingers are spread wide, and the belly and the legs are stretched out on the floor. Any sort of gentle twisting is a really great yoga pose, where you can be laying flat on your back, hug the knees into the chest, let the knees drape over to the side. A great way to protect the integrity of the spine or the comfort of the spine in this pose is to, before you hug the knees in, to shift the hips. So like you're laying flat on your back, feet flat, knees bent. You lift the hips slightly and just kind of move them over to the side a little bit of the opposite way that you're going to twist. This is probably confusing. It doesn't make sense. If it doesn't, maybe I should do a yoga series. Maybe if you guys are interested, I don't know. Let me know. Let me know what you think. And Supta Baddha Konasana is another great sacral chakra yoga posture, where you are reclined, soles of the feet are touching, knees are open wide. You can place 2 pillows on either side of the knees to offer some support there. I should and I will. You know, I was thinking about doing like private yoga classes. Like, now that I'm in Florida, I feel like people here like could appreciate like a genuine, authentic, like true yoga teacher, not someone who's going to sit here and tell you to do 15 push-ups and then go into down dog. Like, you know, like let's like unlock some energetic like shit. So yeah, wow, I feel like we covered so much. This was such a good little class. Like, I love this. I will be saving the notes that I took and compiling them. I'm thinking about the best way about doing this. I'll probably be posting these things towards the end, just so that I can give myself enough space and time to create it the way that feels like the greatest offering for you. I'm thinking about starting a blog in connection to my website, so that once you go to my website, you can check back on these. Thank you. Oh, baby. I'm so glad to hear that. I'm going to heart that. Dang it, train of thought. Oh, my website and a blog. Yeah, so I'm thinking about doing a blog for you guys to be able to like access these things better. And also I will be doing like little graphic things, graphic design, like info things for this Instagram page, where I'll be posting it. If you wouldn't mind checking and seeing what I'm talking about, I did one for the root chakra series that I did last week. Affirmations, baby. I was about to fucking start closing this shit up without doing a single meditation, or like, ew. Okay. This one's going to be special to me because I actually curated and wrote this little meditation as part of like a paid project thing that I did. So let's wrap this up by just doing a little quick synopsis, right? I'm just going to go down through, okay? Sacral chakra, Sanskrit. Thank you. Svadhisthana, meaning one's own dwelling or where your being is established. Closely connected to the root system, said to be the seed of being and the seat of being. Connected to emotions, sexuality, identity, desire, joy. When blocked, we can feel guilt, wounded emotions, remorse, imposter syndrome, repression, fear of judgment, subdued feelings and sense of identity. You feel muted, insecure, and unable to express yourself. When overactive, we feel overwhelmed, anxious, hypersexual, lack of self-awareness, inability to make rational decisions, chaotic relationships, and addictive tendencies. And in balance, we feel confidence in our abilities, certainty in our needs and values, experience joy and pleasure harmoniously. We feel safe and free in expressing ourselves. We feel pleasure in healthy, guiltless ways. We listen and care for the needs of our bodies. We are flexible and allow ourselves to release our hold on what we thought we knew and what we think we know, welcoming new ideas, being open to feedback, and we allow ourselves to be adaptable, flexible, playful, curious, driven, and inspired. All right. The mantra last week, the root chakra, was Lam, 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 For the sacral chakra, it's vam, 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 V-A-M. Let's do a quick, deep inhale together. Breathe in through the nose. Exhale out the mouth, big sigh. This time, inhale to the sacral chakra. Put your hand right beneath your belly button. Inhale. Breathing into the hand. Exhale, the hand presses the air out the mouth. Inhale, breathe into that womb space, creative energy. Exhale, vam, 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 vam. When you're ready, inhale one more time. Together in chanting vam, 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 vam. Giving yourself lots of time and ooh, a little buzz. I feel like a little lightheaded. It feels so nice. Fill your brain and body with oxygen. Fuel your lungs with air. And when you're ready, just start to feel the shimmering settle. And join me in affirming these beliefs, a gift from the cosmos through me to you, into all of us. I give myself permission to receive all the pleasures of life. After all, pleasure is my birthright. I cherish and honor the body which homes my soul, and I listen to my needs by fueling my creative nature through pure self-expression. The company I keep is genuine and inspiring. I allow myself to be treated well. I know what I deserve. And as I celebrate others, I welcome their celebration of me. I am the captain of my experience. I give myself permission to receive all the pleasures of life. After all, pleasure is my birthright. I cherish and honor the body which homes my soul by listening to my needs and fueling my creative nature through pure self-expression. The company I keep is genuine and inspiring. I allow myself to be treated well. I know what I deserve. As I celebrate others, I welcome their celebration of me. I am the captain of my experience. Thank you guys again for yet another wonderful and super exciting and exhilarating chakra series. I absolutely fucking love doing these, and I hope that you're enjoying listening into me. If you would like to share any insight, or if you would like to ask any questions, the comment section is going to be open just for another 5 minutes, and then I'm going to wrap this baby up, start posting. Yes. You have my permission to use me as your muse in any way, shape, or form. Just share the art with me because I love it. I love that shit. Yes. Thank you guys again. I love you so much. Tune in next week for the solar plexus, that I choose energy. I'm so excited to be doing this series. Again, if you are interested in donating to this cause of me being an energetic $10 to $20 donations, or any donation, honestly, is graciously accepted. And I do still have that program available, 111 for all 7 series if you plan on attending all of them or have attended them so far. And you will also receive a mini set of my chakra oils for your therapeutic needs. And if you are just now joining in and you'd like to participate, but you've missed the other 2, yes. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. This mantra is I feel, and it can also be I express. I am sensual. I create. I just anything of that, like, emotional center. I feel, I embrace, I connect, I feel joy, I feel sexual, I feel sensual, I feel pleasure. I am a pleasurable being. I am a beacon of joy. Another one too is just pleasure is my birthright. I love that one for the sacral chakra for sure. And I will be posting and creating little photos to go onto my feed. So stay tuned. And I'm glad you guys are enjoying this. I hope you are, at least, because I sure as shit am. All right, you guys have a wonderful night. Happy hump day, and see you next week. Bye.